Welcome to all the guests. Thank you for being here. I know that we have some friends and family members of our in-depth foundations teacher training cohort. We love that you're here to support your people. And I know that we have some longtime Sun and Moon teachers here and some graduates of the program from years past. So this is what family is. And thank goodness for this family. So with that, come on up, Susan. I'm just going to go ahead and ask everyone to mute themselves. And anyone joining, I'll take care of. Okay. Okay.
Earl.
So welcome, friends, family, and guests. We are Abby, Anne-Marie, Vicki, Aaron, Pat, and coming to you remotely is Amanda and also Nina, who couldn't be with us but helped us to practice. We're the 2021 graduating Sun and Moon yoga teachers, and this is a free class. We're each going to give you a 10-minute segment. So 8 people who decided in COVID that remotely we were all going to become yoga teachers, and we only met each other a month ago, so it seems too short already. So we're going to start with some breathing. Breathing is one of the 8 parts of yoga. We're going to do also poses, which is another of the 8 parts, and meditation at the end. So 3 of the 8 parts of yoga we'll do today with you. We decided we wanted to start this class standing, victorious for all that we've come through and all that our friends and family have come through, and breathing, which is so important for all those who suffered from COVID. So we're standing in what we call mountain pose. Feel your heel on the ground. Feel your big toe mound and feel your little toe mound. That's your 3-corner triangle support on each foot. Lift your toes as you're able, spread them, and put them down onto the ground. So that's our foundation. So we're going to relax, breathe, and go slowly. I want to teach you a way to open up your chest. You know, in COVID and online, there's a lot of forward hunching and forward motion generally in life. So we want to open up the top of our chest and get air in there also. So we're standing in mountain. Imagine the arches of your feet, the bowl of your pelvis, and the dome of your skull holding you up. You want to have a little micro bend in your knees. So have your hands out a little bit and put your palms forward. And you might notice that you feel more opening in your upper chest and shoulders. So we're just going to breathe in and out 3 times. 3 big breaths will get you through just about anything. I have a friend who got married, and before he said his vows, he's a yoga teacher, he said 3 deep breaths. So we'll count together 3 breaths. So inhale, exhale. Inhale. Look at that point where the ceiling meets the wall. Exhale. Inhale, exhale. That point between the ceiling and the wall, that way you won't crunch your neck too much. So we wanted to teach you something that was taught to us by one of our yoga instructors, Baxter Bell, who's an MD and a yoga teacher. And there is anecdotal evidence of these 2 practices I'm going to share with you that really helped those recovering from COVID to improve their lung function. So why not do it ourselves all the time to improve our lung function? So one of them is box breathing, and they're going to study these and come up with a real study. This is anecdotal evidence, but it helped people recover. So box breathing, I'll demonstrate it. The practice is to do it 5 times through, and on the 6th time at the end, you cough, which helps to clear your lungs. We're going to do it twice. I'm going to demonstrate it once, and then we'll do it together. So box breathing, also, which I hear is used by Navy SEALs in their breathing. So box breathing is inhale for 5. So inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold. 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale. 2, 3, 4, 5. And hold. 2, 3, 4, 5. So you're kind of drawing a box, if you can imagine, with your breathing. So we'll do it together. This practice would be done, again, 5 times. The 6th time we'll cough, so we'll cough at the end of this one. We'll pretend this is our 6th one. You would do that twice through. You would do it several times throughout the day, and it helped a lot of recovering patients. So let's do it together. Ready? Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. And hold, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that was one of the practices. Again, practice several times a day. I forgot to cough. I'm sorry. Let's cough. So on your 6th one, you would cough. That helps your lung function. That was one of the practices. The other one is prone breathing. Prone meaning you're on the floor, lying on your stomach. You know, we think of our lungs as being in the front of our body, but a lot of our lung capacity is in the back of our body. So we don't often breathe back in there, and this practice might have you feeling movement in your ribs, in the back of your ribs, that you might never have had today or ever. So we'll do that together. So we're standing. This can also be done sitting. If it's not a good idea for you to lie prone on your stomach, you can sit against the wall. You can take a yoga block, whether you're sitting or standing, to mimic the floor, and put it just below your shoulder blades at the, where your heart would be, and be against a wall or in your chair so that you can breathe into the block. And that will mimic the floor. So what's a good way to get down to the floor gracefully? So I'll show you. Hands on your thighs. Go forward a little bit with one foot. Put the other knee down to the floor. And then the other knee. And then your hands forward. This is what we call table pose. So you're in table. Bring one knee to the other. Sit to the opposite side. And put your feet in front of you. So now we're sitting, and then I'm going to demonstrate this lying down. But again, you can do it seated or up against a wall with a block behind you. You want to breathe into a hard surface. So we'll lie prone. If you have a pillow and you need it under your chest for support, that's fine. You can also stack your wrists and rest your forehead on your wrists. So this practice can be used as a meditation practice in the morning when you get up, or in the evening before you go to bed. 10 breaths is what they used in the study. But you could do this for 5 minutes or for 10 minutes. We're going to do it for the 10 breaths. So let's just get comfortable so we can breathe. So the floor is going to push that air into the sides and back of our lungs. So let's try that. Inhale. Exhale. You can adjust to come a little closer to the floor if you need that. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. So I'm feeling breath going more into the back of my lungs. Inhale 4. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. I'm planting my elbows a little wider to get closer to the floor. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. You might notice it also going into your side ribs. Sometimes our side ribs don't move very much at all.
during the day, especially if we sit a lot. So here we go on our 10th breath. Inhale and exhale. So again, that's the second part of the study that helped improve lung function in COVID patients. So you would do that 10 breaths. You could also do it for 5 or 10 minutes as a meditation practice. So we'll get up now. You can roll over on your side and use your bottom arm as a pillow. And then you have this top arm here. Push into the floor to come up. And then swivel your legs in front of you. And then we'll take what we call an easy seat. Just fold your legs in front of you. By easy, we mean what's easy for you. So you're going to notice one leg wants to go in front of the other just out of habit. So in yoga, we don't always want to do what makes us feel comfortable. We want to challenge ourselves sometimes or go to the edge. Try crossing the other one and see how that feels. Again, exploration. So I'm going to pass this class to Amanda, who's going to instruct you further.
Thank you, Susan. We're in easy seat, and let's just take one relaxed breath in and out. Inhale in and exhale out. We're going to do this next sequence laying on our backs. So I'm going to pivot and I'm facing the short end of my mat. And then to get down to your back, you can use your hands if you'd like to support yourself as you roll down. Once you're on your back, put your feet flat on the floor, bend your knees. You can have your arms out to the side in a T or just casually at your side. I'd like you to bring your feet, the outside edges of your feet to the outside edges of your mat. So now your legs are fairly far apart. Gently drop your knees to one side, just a little bit. Come to center, drop your knees to the other side. Come back to center. We're going to repeat this a few times. And as we do, you may find that you want to drop your knees a little bit further down. And notice what you notice in your body as we do this. And we're warming up your legs and your hips. And this is a great exercise you can do in the morning, in the evening. Just take some time to stretch your hips a little bit. Let's do one more to each side. And we'll meet in center. Your feet flat on the floor, knees bent. Take your right knee and you can hug it gently in towards your chest. And then place it back on the floor. We're going to do the same with the other knee. And let's repeat this 2 more times. Right knee into the chest. And the left knee. And here we're stretching out your glutes a little bit and continuing to warm up. One more time to this side. And let's meet in the center. Take just a breath in and out and feel centered on your mat. Now, I'd like you to put your arms out in a T shape if that's comfortable for you. You can also keep them a little lower down. And we're going to roll to one side. So you're going to roll, I'm going to roll over to one side and you're laying on your side. You can put your top arm on your hip for now. Take your top arm and lay your hand on top of your bottom hand. You're looking at your hands. You're slowly going to drag that top hand across your arm, drag it across your chest, and lay it on the floor. Or you can just keep your elbow bent and bring it to here. And then return and lay it back on top. I'm going to sit up and demonstrate this one time just to make sure you get an image. So your hand is on top. You drag that top hand across your chest and over to the other side. So let's do this one more time on this side. Bring your arm across your chest. Lay it down and then return. And just take a minute to notice how your body feels now. Come to center. And we're going to go to the other side. So the same, you're on your side. Your bottom arm is perpendicular to your spine. You're going to bring that top arm, put your hand on top of the bottom hand, and drag it across. Let's do this 2 more times. And notice what you notice on this side. Are there any differences between the 2 sides? Okay, great. Now we're going to come to your back. Take a minute to feel centered on your mat. Your feet are flat on the floor, your knees are bent. Take your right leg into your knee, right knee into your chest and extend the leg. Just, you can, whatever, wherever you start to feel some sensation is great. Point and flex, point, flex. You can also use a yoga strap, a scarf, or a towel behind your leg if that makes this something that's more accessible or comfortable. Put your foot back down. And let's do the other leg. Point, flex, point, flex. Again, there's no prizes for how high you get your leg. Just the idea is you're warming up your foot and the back of your leg. Both feet flat on the ground. Take your right knee again into your chest. Cross your foot over the your ankle over the bent knee, and you can just gently push on your top leg. That gives you a little bit of stretch, possibly. You can reach behind your leg, and if you would like take it a little further, you could do this, and you're stretching out again your glutes and your back of your legs. And then let's go to the other side. This is called a figure 4 stretch, and just laying like this, you can get benefit. And if you want, bring this knee into your chest. Very nice. Put that foot back down. We're going to end this sequence by coming into table. So roll to one side and push yourself up. And Susan introduced us to table last segment, but you're on your hands and knees. Your hands are under your shoulders. Your knees are under your hips. Keep your abdomen, your tummy area firm. And this is table. And Pat is going to take us through the next segment.
Thank you, Amanda. Let me just get hooked up here. Okay. All righty, as Amanda got us into table, let's take a good look at what we're doing. Do we have our shoulders on top of our wrists, and do we have our hips in line with our knees? If you have any kind of hip wrist concerns, like if you have any discomfort or anything like that, bring your hands forward just a little bit, like maybe a hand's width forward, and that should help your wrists. Let's find some spinal movement on this one. We're going to start in cow, which we're going to allow our belly to sink to the floor, but we're going to keep our abs firm. And of course, we're not going all the way to the floor. We're lifting our head and we're pulling our shoulders and ears away from each other. And you can find a point to gaze to that doesn't cramp your neck up. Then we're going to go into cat, where we're going to raise our spine towards the ceiling, and we're going to drop our head a little bit down between our arms, and we're going to drop our hips. So we're going to go back and forth with this and find a nice inhale, exhale that you like coming into cat if you want to inhale in cat, and then exhale into cow, or the reverse, whichever works best for you. Let's relax into this and enjoy this spinal movement. Okay, let's all find our way back to table, and we're going to go from table to child's pose. So right now we're in table. We're going to go down into child's pose, which is where we're just going to drop our hips to the floor, to our heels, as far down as whatever is possible for our body's range of motion. Then we're going to come back up and go back into table. We're going to find the breath that works for us. If you want to take an inhale when you're in table and then exhale when you go down into child's pose, or the reverse, whichever works for you. Let's do this several times. Okay, on the last child's pose, if you want to do a little movement in your hips, a little circling with your hips to one side and then reverse it and go to the other side, or do a little wiggling, whatever helps you feel like you get a little bit more release in your lower back. Okay. And if everyone wants to join me back in table, we're now going to go, and I do need a blanket for this. We're going to sit back on our hips and we're going to do some wrist stretches. We've been on our hands a lot, and personally, my hands do get uncomfortable. So Baxter Bell in one of our workshops showed us these tips, and I love them. So if you want to do like a figure 8, or I think it could be called orchestra if you want to guide your orchestra, right? Do that for several times. And then if you want to then go into, what was this called? I'm trying to think of it, like the mystic hands or the, hocus pocus, something like that. Thank you, Susan. And then if you want to turn your hands into a paintbrush, you can pretend you're painting the wall, getting all kinds of work done while you're doing yoga at the same time. All righty, so let's come back into table. All right, and we're going to go into what's called bird dog. So with what I want you to do is pick a side, pick a leg, and put your leg back and balance on your toes. And balancing, this is going to be a balance pose, and then we're going to get some movement into it. So also, we're balancing on one foot's toes, and then we're going to raise the opposing arm straight ahead in line with our torso, okay? So if you want to do an inhale on that, and then an exhale, you're going to come back to table. Then we're just going to reverse that. We're just going to keep going with the inhale. We're going to lift up, and then we're going to exhale. We're going to lift up and exhale. And if you want to try to make it more of a balance move, you can raise your back leg completely up off of the floor in line with your torso. And if you find that you're a little wobbly and you need more balance, just separate your legs a little bit wider, and that gives you a little bit more, makes your table chairs a little bit more sturdy. So just keep doing that a couple more times. When you've had enough, if you want to join me back in table, and we're going to go to a lunge. Now, what I'd like you to do, and I didn't get those right at the beginning, is if you feel like you might need some blocks, have those to the side of your hands. And from table, you can put your hands on your blocks, and then you're going to pull one leg through and bend it. So you're stabilizing yourself on one leg, and you've got the other leg pulled through, and you want to look to see, do you have your knee over your ankles? That's going to protect your knee from injury. So if you like that, again, if you're feeling wobbly with this, you can widen your stance a little bit. That gives you a little bit stronger pose, right? And then if you feel good enough and you want to come into cactus, you can do that. And then if you want even more of a balance challenge, you can go straight up overhead. And if you want to turn your pinkies in to get a little bit more movement into your shoulders, a little bit more opening. And then just breathe, raising your torso up towards the ceiling. Get some length in your neck, lengthen your spine. All right, let's lower our hands down to blocks if you need the blocks. And let's just reverse that. Just kind of come back into a table. Let's bring our other leg forward. Okay, again, we're looking for that alignment to keep our knees safe. And we'll widen our stance if we need to, protecting ourselves from falling over. Okay, if you feel good, then you can always go up to cactus arms and then straight up if you'd like to with your pinkies in to give yourself a little bit more shoulder opening. And again, elongate your spine. All righty, if everybody wants to come down to the floor, and we're going to gracefully stand up and get into mountain pose, which I think Susan showed us mountain at the very beginning. And I'm going to turn it over to Anne-Marie. Thank you.
Let's pause for a moment here in mountain. Have a soft gaze or close your eyes. And let's think about exploring mountain as a place of stability. And I know for myself during the pandemic, it wasn't the most stable time of my life. And I've had to regain my balance a few times, and we're working on that throughout the whole theme of this class. Becoming stable, challenging our balance, and becoming stable again. So as we stand in mountain, either soft gaze or eyes closed, think about your feet, the foundation of mountain, and it will also be the foundation of tree pose, which we'll move into once we gain our bearings in mountain. So feel your heels, feel your big toe mound, feel your little toe mound, raise your toes like you did in the beginning of class and spread them wide, and feel the arches now in the middle of your feet that are also supporting you. Feel your pelvis nice and level. Feel your shoulders relaxed. And feel your head balanced over the rest of your body. So as your head is balanced and your shoulders are relaxed on your back, start to shift your weight to one leg. So the difference between tree and mountain is bearing weight on 2 feet and tree is bearing most of your weight, if not all of your weight, on one side. So you shift your weight to one side. The leg where you're holding your weight now is your standing leg. The other one is your moving leg. So take your moving leg. Well, you could stay here if you like. If this feels stable for you, that's fine. That's a perfect expression of tree pose. If you'd like to move further into your tree pose, you can bring your moving leg closer to your standing leg. If you'd like to move up into the tree, you can bring your toes up to your ankle. And if you'd like to make a wider trunk, you can turn your knee out. Oops. And if you fall out of your tree like I just did, that's fine. You can bring your hands to your hips. Maybe that'll hold your pelvis level. You can bring your foot up to just below your knee if you'd like, your heel below your knee. Or if you prefer to go even further up into your tree, you can bring your toes up to your heel or your toes to the top of your knee. Just don't put your foot on your knee joint itself. That might just not be the healthiest place for your knee joint. And pause here. You can leave your hands here. You can bring them to heart center. If you fall out of your tree, just return to a place of stability for yourself. Bring your arms out to the side if you'd like. You can have a tall, wide tree. You can have a narrow, tall tree. You can have a round tree. If it helps you to balance more, just focus on something in the room. If you'd like to add breeze to your tree, you can do that. That's a balance challenge. Keep breathing, relax your shoulders here. Bring stillness to your tree if it's still a breeze up there. If your hands are up, you can bring your hands to heart center. If your hands are at heart center, you can bring them down to your pelvis. And if your knee is out, you can bring it back in. And if your foot is up, you can bring yourself back down into your mountain. And relax your arms. And just notice the right and left sides of your body. Take a breath here, or a few breaths, whatever you need, and we'll move to tree on the other side. So shift your weight to the other side. That's your standing leg now. Take your moving leg. If you'd like, bring it closer to the ankle of the standing leg. You can put your hands on your pelvis and notice if your pelvis is level here. Notice if your head is still balanced over the rest of your body. You can bring your foot up if you'd like. You can turn your knee out if you would like. You can bring your foot a little further up if you'd like. You can look at something that's not moving. So I shouldn't look at Aaron because Aaron's moving a little bit. And you can bring your arms out if you'd like. If you fall out of your tree, it's perfectly okay. Just go to a place of balance for you and stability. You can bring your arms up or round or narrow. You can have a breeze. You might want to think about bringing your foot up or down, however you like. If you fall out of your tree, it's perfectly okay. Just regain that balance. Come back to mountain if you need to. If your arms are up, let's bring them back. Bring stillness to your tree. Maybe bring your arms to your pelvis. If your knee is out, let's bring it in. Bring your foot down if it's up. Come back to your mountain. And notice the right and left sides of your body. You can stay where you are. I'm going to turn for the camera. From mountain, place your hands on your hip creases. Bend your knees as much as you'd like. We're going to go into a forward fold with a neutral spine. So you're going to bend at the hip creases. Forward fold. Bend your knees as much as you'd like until you have your hands on the ground. Take a few breaths here and relax your head. You can shake your head yes, you can shake your head no. Just release your neck. Feel the weight of your body a little bit on your hands. Walk your hands forward. And walk your hands back. Your feet back until you're in down dog. Feel your hands firmly rooted on the ground. Now this is your source of stability here. Allow your knees to bend as much as you'd like. Relax your shoulders. You can turn this into a walking dog if you'd like, bending one knee and then the other. And again, feel the right and left sides of your body when you do this with the walking dog, if that's what you choose to do. Bringing your hips high up into the sky. If your dog is still walking, bring that to stillness. Take a few breaths here. And feel the stability of this particular shape. And when you're ready, walk your feet back to your hands with your knees bent as much as you like. Your hands to your thighs. Bring your spine to a flat or neutral back and gently come up. And I'll pass this to Abby, who will take us further into our practice.
Okay, please come to the back of your mat in mountain pose. And during the pandemic, we've all had to rely on inner strength that sometimes we didn't know that we had. So we're going to be moving into Warrior 1 and then into Warrior 3. So please take your right foot and step a couple steps forward, a comfortable distance for you. Make sure that your knee is tracking over your toes. Your back foot is at a diagonal, and you want to ground through the three corners of your feet, the big toe mound, the pinky toe mound, and the heel. For your back foot, you really want to press through the pinky side of your foot to feel that stretch through your back leg. And then bring your arms up towards the ceiling. And if it works for your body, you can gaze up towards your fingertips and feel like a light is shooting out through your fingertips. Feel that lengthening in your body, that inner strength, that power you have. And take a couple deep breaths. And then bring your hands to your hips. And we're going to bend and straighten our front knee. We're playing with balance here to kind of see how it's going to feel, distributing the weight from your back leg to your front leg for when we move into Warrior 3. So just notice how that feels in your body. When you feel ready, take your back foot and lift your heel off the ground. This can be your Warrior 3. If you'd like to do a different variation of the pose, you're going to gaze down to your mat, gently tilt forward, and lift your leg off the mat. The goal is not how high you can get. The goal is just to feel the lengthening from the crown of your head out through your heel. Your arms can be a prayer. They can be out to the side for airplane, or they can be in front of you. For those at home, you can do this by a wall, or you can do this with the back of the chair or against a bed or a couch. And if you fall, just get back up again, as we have many times throughout this past year. Fall and get back up. So come back to Warrior 1. Take a couple deep breaths. Notice how that felt in your body. And when you feel ready, come into whichever version of Warrior 3 your body is asking for today. If you bring your navel towards your spine, that can really help with balance. And try to just gaze at the floor at a point that is not moving. Again, feel that lengthening from the crown of your head out through your heel. And come back to Warrior 1. Bring your right foot back to meet your left in mountain. Shake out your legs. And just notice how one side feels versus the other side. And how that feels in your body. Take your left foot and step a comfortable distance in front. Make sure your front knee is tracking over your toes. Your back foot is at a diagonal. Once you feel with your feet are grounded into the mat, extend your arms up towards the ceiling and gaze up through your fingertips. Take a couple deep breaths. Bring your hands to your hips. And again, we're going to bend and straighten our front knee, just noticing how it feels when you move your weight towards your front leg and to your back, and just play with that. When you feel ready, lift your back heel off the mat Again, this can be your warrior three. If you're looking for a different variation, slowly lift your leg off the mat. Bring your hands either to prayer, out to the side for airplane, or in front of you, whichever version your body is asking for today. And feel that extension, that lengthening from the crown of your head out through your heel. And feel your inner strength that's gotten you through this year, sometimes when you thought you couldn't make it, with virtual schooling and layoffs and illness and everything that we've had to overcome this year. And express gratitude to yourself for taking care of yourself and making it through. When you feel ready, come back to warrior one. Take a couple of deep breaths. And then lift your back heel. Come back up into warrior three. Again, bring your navel towards your spine and your gaze should be at the floor or your mat. And if you fall out, just come back. And then bring your left foot back to meet your right in mountain. Take a couple deep breaths. And now Vicki is going to take over.
Well, thank you, Abby. I brought my bath towel, which is my favorite knee cushion. So I've learned to have my bath towel, learned that at home. We're in mountain pose, the center of our mat. We've heard a lot about mountain pose this morning. It is my favorite asana because it was the first position I recognized in daily life. I was in the kitchen and all of a sudden the feet were there solid and there was the stove, the sink, the cabinets, all from this base of support that is the ankles, the knees, the hips in solid alignment. And I felt really strong in my kitchen. So we are going to start here and add some movement along with our breath. The first thing we do is just breathe into our mountain pose. When I talk about a deep breath, what I mean is smooth. Inhale, exhale. On your next, turn your arms out so that your palms face forward. And on your next inhale, bring your arms up so that you can grab your left wrist with your right arm. Whatever works for you, straight, bent. Inhale for a moment here, inhale. And on an exhale, tilt to the right. It's not about how deep your bend is. Do you feel the stretch down your side? The fascia tissue. Don't worry about your muscles. It's the tissue, the fascia, the connective tissue. Inhale up. Again, breathe in, and on an exhale, tip to your right. Inhale up. Take a couple breaths here. When we tip again, we're going to hold it to the right for 3 breaths. Inhale, exhale to the right.
And just breathe. Just breathe for the sensation along your body. And when you're ready, back to mountain. Inhale, exhale. Know how strong your base of support is. And now your range of motion. Arms down, palms forward. We're going to do the opposite side. So with your left hand, capture your right and tilt to the left. Inhale up. Tilt to the left. Inhale up. If you need to find your tree alignment again, before we take the long 3 breaths, inhale, and to the left again for 3 breaths. And when you're ready, back in mountain. To keep moving, we've done a forward fold. We're going to do 2 more. Inhale, straight up, hands on your hips. Make sure nothing jammed up there. Breathe in and fold at your hip creases all the way down to wherever you want to be. With a soft bend in your knee, come halfway up, using your hands on your thighs for support, and come on up. Breathe. If anyone feels dizzy, just hold your head back a bit. One more time, inhale, and exhale, fold at the hip creases. This time, bend your knees as much as you like. And come on, just take one knee down and come into table. Breathe here with your head and heart up. Again, just breathe in. Feel your strength. Move your hands one big handprint forward, so we're at kind of a wide table. We're going to thread the needle, but in a dynamic fashion. We'll do 2 without touching the ground, and on the 3rd, we will leave our arm down on the forearm or shoulder for 3 breaths. But for now, imagine putting your weight into your left hand in that forward table. You'll be stable, 3 points on a plane. Take your right arm and cross your midline under. Bring it up. Look up. Gentle twist. Again, exhale down. Inhale up. Exhale down again. And wherever you decide, hold for 3 breaths. When you're ready, come back to table. This is a point where, again, lift up and breathe. Lift your heart. You might want to wiggle your back, that cat-cow, or a little hip wiggle. Put your weight into your right hand, and we'll get ready. Inhale, exhale, bring your left arm under. Inhale up. exhale through. Inhale up. And on the last one, we stay down in your position for 3 breaths. Let time find comfort in the twist, I hope. And we're back in table when you're ready. We're going to go back into child's pose. In this case, we'll bring our toes together and put our knees a little wider. And we're going to lean back into child's pose. The reason I'm writing it, we're going to be staying down here for a few moments. And so I want you to find your maximum comfort in this child's pose. Since we've been working a lot with shoulders and arms, for me, I always choose a counter pose by bringing the arms back for a little while. On an exhale, realize the parts of your body. Take a little inventory. How many points of your body are touching the ground? That's your new base of support, and it's a solid one. So you can breathe here and allow that breath to carry the oxygen to all your muscles at rest. Just rest and breathe smoothly. And Aaron will prepare to take us into final relaxation.
Thank you, Vicki. From child's pose, come down to your back, along the length of your mat. Go ahead and take your time. Get nice and comfortable. There's no hurry. Once you're down, feeling nice and supported, I want you to take a nice, long, full body stretch. You know, the kind you take after a really great night's sleep, reaching out all the way from your toes to the tips of your fingers. Nice and long, finding space, but also letting go. Go ahead and relax your arms and legs to the floor. As Vicki reminded us, it's a wonderful support for your body. Allow your head to drop to one side and then the other. Take a little gaze up at the ceiling. Bring that same gaze down across your nose, your chest, maybe the wall across from you. Draw your knees in and hug them into your chest. It's okay if your lower back comes off the ground a little bit for a moment. Give yourself a nice hug. Then drop the lower back to the floor for a moment. This might mean that you have to let go of your hug a little bit, maybe not a bear hug. And then go ahead and take a rock to the right and to the left. And you'll know if you've gotten your lower back to the ground because you'll most likely feel a massage, a nice, gentle, slight pressure sensation across the base of your spine and the top of your hips. And go ahead and play with it. If your knees need to come back up a little bit, if they need to come a little further down, just try and make contact in a place where the rocking motion provides a little bit of relief, maybe a bit of soothing. Take your hands, bring them to the back of your knees. Keeping your knees bent, draw your knees away from one another to the outer side of your body. They may rest on your trunk. They may come a little closer, a little further from your rib cage. Just be comfortable. Flex your feet and swing them up to the ceiling, keeping your knees bent. so that it looks like you're doing an upside down squat into the sky. You're holding up that sky. If this feels good, stay here. If you'd like to deepen your stretch, go ahead and take your hands and slide them up across your calves, your ankles, or go ahead and make a ring with your index finger and your thumb and grab a hold of your big toe. And then very gently, keeping your feet flexed and firmly planted against the sky, pull your thighs down a little closer to your chest or your floor. Feel a nice deep opening in the hips. It should feel like a good stretch. If you're feeling pain anywhere, please back off, lower your hands, relax your legs. It's okay to drop your feet a little. And now let's just rock our happy baby once or twice, tilting a little to the right, a little to the left. Again, play with your seat and your spine and your tailbone. Can you drop them down so that you can feel that relaxing massage across the base of your spine and across the tops of the backs of your hips? Let go of your feet or your ankles or your shins and bring your knees back into your chest. One more tiny squeeze. Keeping your knees bent, relax your feet to the floor. We're going to do a few more of those windshield wipers. So bring your arms out to the side in a T shape. Walk your feet out so that the outer edge of the foot is parallel to the outer edge of your mat. Drop your knees over to one side. Back up through center. The other side. See how it feels if you compare your hips staying a little closer to the ground versus coming up off the floor. How deep of a twist would you like to feel in your spine? How much opening would you like to feel in your side body? You can also play with your breath, sync it to the motions. Maybe you exhale when you drop and inhale when you rise. Maybe you like to do the exact opposite. We're just playing, so explore, be creative, take your time. We'll take one more rock to each side. And then I'm going to give you a couple minutes to gather whatever you need to get comfortable and ready for our final pose, Shavasana. If you're new to yoga, this is your first class, you've never done this before, Shavasana is a restorative pose we take at the end of our Hatha classes. Like so many of my classmates have mentioned, we like to take use of the wonderful support of the ground and the gravity beneath us and just let it support our body so that we can let go and reorganize and let the body and the mind absorb all of the benefits of the practice. You may want to put a folded blanket under your head or a rolled one under your knees, maybe one across your body for weight. You know what you need. In the great words of Diane Bondi, you do you. Get comfortable. Take a little scan of your body. Are you carrying any tension anywhere? Is there any place you can soften? Let gravity take hold. Let your mat support you. And I'm going to share a technique that I learned from Andy Puddicombe to get you off into a few minutes of silence, starting down at the toes, the bottom of your feet, the ankles. Can you just let the muscles switch off? Can you let the bones rest into the ground beneath you? Your shins, your knees, your thigh bones, your pelvis. Can you let them switch off? Your tummy, your rib cage, all the curves of your back, switching off. Your shoulders, your arms, your hands, switching off. Your throat, your jaw, your tongue. Can you soften? Can you open? Can you let go? Your eyes, your head, even your thoughts. can you just switch everything off? Slowly and gently begin to wiggle your toes, your fingers. Roll your wrist, your hands, your ankles. Just enough movement to come back into the space. Take your time. Roll over onto your side. Use your arm or a nearby blanket to support the weight of your head. And rest here for a moment before you come to a comfortable seated position on your mat. In Satchidananda's translation of the Yoga Sutras, he writes, "Remember, yoga practice is like an obstacle race. Many obstructions are purposely put on the way for us to pass through. They are there to make us understand and express our own capacities. We all have that strength. We just don't seem to know it. We seem to need to be challenged and tested in order to understand our own capacities. In fact, this is the natural law. If a river just flows easily, the water in the river does not express its power. But once you put an obstacle to the flow by constructing a dam, then you can see its strength in the form of tremendous electrical power." Have any of you found a strength you did not know you had a year and a half ago? Is it possible that, maybe not in spite of, but because of our dams, we find our spark, we find our energy, we find the sustenance we need to go on? I'd like to ask you to place one hand on your mat and one hand over your heart. And quietly inside your head, repeat after me. I am here. I showed up today to honor my practice, and I am stronger than I will ever know. On behalf of all of my fellow students, I would like to thank our amazing teachers in the Sun and Moon community, my apologies, and all who have gone before them, not just for this incredible education and experience, but for the inspiration that they've given all of us every day, every step of the way to find our own path. Through their teachings, we have learned that yoga is a lifetime journey, and we should endeavor to be joyous lifetime students. Please bring your palms, fingertips together in front of your heart. Bow your head. May you find peace. May you find happiness. May you always find joy, both on and off your mat. Om Namah Shivaya. Thank you so much for being here with us today.
Thanks for making us all cry. Thanks, everybody on Zoom. If you want to say something, go ahead and unmute yourself. I'm going to stop the recording, and we're going to have a party.